Good morning, Philippines. Just getting set up here at Casa James. And do we have a show for you today? Bit of a live session, live stream in the morning here in the backyard. Well, actually, my front yard, I should say, really. And just relaxing, having my morning brew. I've got my Boracay mug, g'day fellow traveler, and just relaxing. So I thought I'd get up early today because I didn't really I didn't produce any new vlogs yesterday because I was off because I had a sore neck and I was on the couch most of the day yesterday. I took the day off. I really needed it actually, well and truly. That coffee's good, but it's a bit hot. So I'm going to be talking today, saying g'day to everyone. I got up early for a few reasons. One, didn't do much yesterday, and two, I always hear from subscribers in the US, so I thought I'd get up early, morning because I might have some, American subscribers that want to have a chat. And three, today we're going to try and get out and go to a business lunch, a bit of a business and a meeting with friends in Clark, Pampanga. So we're going to go out to Clark, Pampanga today, and we'll have a video or two out there in Clark. Going to try and check out the new Sun Valley in Clark. Shark retired. Good morning, afternoon here in Southern California. Well, I'm glad it's afternoon and you had the chance to catch me, Shark. Carl, good morning. How are you this morning? This mug, wow, it's a big mug. Look at this. It's almost as big as my head. I got this in Boracay, this mug actually, and it's my favorite mug. So when I need to have a huge, jump start, this is it. This is the coffee. Need it. And what about you guys? What do you drink in the morning? You drink a beer? Do you drink a coffee? Starbucks? What's your favorite in the mornings? Smoky Northern California. Sounds great, Carl. Yeah, thanks. And say, I just did that video recently in the last few days, and yeah, it was a good video. I think I can do better. If you notice, when I do these property guides, what usually happens is I get lists and I trawl through different websites and I find different categories below 1 million, between 1 to 2 million, old condos, new condos, luxury condos, affordable condos, etc., etc. Towards the end, you'll find that actually you find the very best deals. So I'm going to start to do like the my picks, or the best of the best, or something like that, so you guys know after, at the end of doing all the research and uploading all the videos, that I show you the best of the best. So I think Billy might have had a question. Just let me check here, guys. I just missed that, Billy. Sorry, I'm just got to open my phone so I can look back, because otherwise I can't see it here. Just bear with me one tick. And good morning, Philippines. How is Philippines? How is everyone? Okay, so Billy says, hi, which sites do you recommend to find condos in Pattaya? So my favorite is actually, at the moment, Facebook. And the reason I like Facebook at the moment is you go to Facebook Marketplace, and that's where you find owners direct, without the bullshit, without real estate agents adding on commissions and nonsense. I've found quite a few really, really good deals at the moment on Facebook, with owners direct. So I try and circumvent the agents and go to the owner who desperately wants to sell and maybe go back to the UK. That's your best bet. Second is HipFlat. HipFlat is great because you can actually go through and select the building and look at all the condos in the building, right? So it actually filter on the web what's available and amalgamate it on HipFlat. So I like HipFlat. The other way, and this is kind of, the traditional way, is kind of boots on the ground. So when you go to like Big C or the supermarket, there's like a message board, and people post their for sale condo, or you go to the condo directly and ask the reception, and they will give you a list of owners who are wanting to sell in that building, or ask security. Okay, so that's also a good way, but that's a hard way to do if you're outside the country. All right, so Dean says, "G'day from Australia." Dean, where in Australia are you coming from today, mate? South Australia, Western Australia, New South Wales? Mm, in Pattaya, I think it's called Pattaya Legal. Pattaya Legal. There's another one, I just can't remember the name. And look, if you go back through my videos, there is a video where I interview, a bloke from a law firm. His name is Trevor. He was a really nice guy. Personally, I like Trevor. I got along with him, and that's why I chose to transact with Pattaya Legal and with Trevor. Yeah. Okay, so Shark says, here's a tidbit of info from a real estate agent in the Philippines. After 1.5 to 2 years payments, the 80% is due. Most banks aren't lending to foreigners for that left. Okay. So Shark, what you're talking about is, at the moment in the Philippines, they have like these promos. It's like kind of like, and it bugs me actually, because they don't like to do discounts. They do a promo with limited money down, or, pay only 10,000 peso for 12 months. Well, you pay that for 12 months, and then you have to pay this huge amount, this balloon payment of 80 to 90%, which is huge. It's actually really, really huge. Okay. So I don't really like that so much. I like to buy from owners direct. If someone tells you that you cannot get a loan, like a normal loan that without a balloon, okay, in the Philippines, they're lying to you. Okay. If you live and work here, the gates are open. You can go to BPI, you can go to BDO, you can go to HSBC, but you need local tax returns for 2 years to do that. Previously, you used to go to banks like HSBC Bank, who would allow you to lend against, financials of a company, an overseas company. They've stopped that. You can't, and I've got it on good authority. They won't do that anymore. They will, however, at HSB use your personal tax returns. So if you're a sole trader, or you have a company and you distribute income to yourself, and you have individual financials, they will allow for that. So kind of a complex answer, but the answer is yes, you can still get a loan here in the Philippines as a foreigner. Don't believe those balloon payments. It's not real. Okay, so Ansei says, thanks so much to your reply. Could I ask if, as a foreigner, can I buy a condo that is currently owned in a foreign name and own it if the complex already has 51 Thai 49 ratio? Okay, so let me explain. All right, so if you are buying in a building in Thailand, okay, in Thailand it is different to the Philippines. In the Philippines, they do not have designated title ownership, whereas in Thailand they do have specific title ownership, which means when the building is built, okay, they set a quota and they say, okay, these 50 units are Thai quota. So actually on the title it says Thai quota. The other 49 units are foreign quota. So you must buy, if you want to buy in your own personal name, a foreign quota, what's called an FQ quota title, which means you can transfer it from one foreigner to another. Actually, foreign quota is good too, because it's worth more. Foreigners pay more for it. And actually, when pre-selling condos come out, when they're initially released, there's two sets of pricing. This is the Thai price, and this is the foreigner price. So Thais might buy in at 2.2, where foreigners pay 2.9. Okay, and the reason is there's taxes and stamp duties behind that that get paid, through the developer and back to the government to actually own it as a foreigner and get an FQ foreign title in Thailand. That's how it works. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, that coffee, I really need it. Someone says, I love the Netherlands. So do I, actually. Okay. Condabode Alhama Home says, can foreigners own land in the Philippines? I hear different stories that you can in a company structure, and I'm not planning to buy through a Philippine woman. Okay, so let me explain in detail. Okay, as a foreigner, what you can own is condominium title and leasehold title. What you can't own on this side is freehold title. You cannot own land, you cannot own a house which has a freehold title, right? So let me explain that in more detail. So sometimes people get a freehold or a leasehold title. You could get a freehold and register a lease of 50 years. So technically you have the rights to that property for a 50-year period because you've signed it, whether it's leasehold or freehold. Okay, that is possible, but it must be registered with the local government, so with the land department. So that is definitely possible. What I have here is a house, and I think I have about 38 years left on the lease here. This is a leasehold title under, Subic Bay, SBMA, or, you could go to Clark, for example, and get a leasehold there as well. Actually, believe it or not, all of the land here in Subic Bay, Freeport, is all leasehold. So even if you're Filipino, you can't even get ownership. You can only get leasehold. You can only own it for a duration. Once that duration expires, what will happen is you can go back to the Lands Title Office and pay to renew for another 50 years. But the fee is going to be substantial, mind you, okay? And no one knows at that current point in time how much will the fee be. Okay, so think about that. So personally, look, for me, I'm comfortable in the leasehold as an investment. Actually, it's done very, very well, even though it's leasehold. I've racked up probably 4 years here on my leasehold. I think I had 42 or 43 years left when I bought it. But now this leasehold's worth almost double what was worth when I bought it. It's worth easily double. I can sell it, snapping my fingers today, for double, and it has 4 less years on it. Okay, so what does that tell you? It's still valuable because foreigners can have it and have it in their own personal name, like I have. But now I have a son. Now I want to buy freehold for him in his name. Okay, because he's Filipino, he can. So technically, I can buy it in his name, and I can be the guardian of that property and control it for the 18 years until he reaches 18, and I can say, okay. So Mark says, are specific condo units foreign quota, or is it simply a percentage quota? For Thailand, certain units. For the Philippines, it's a percentage. Okay, so it depends on the country. Okay, so yes, in the Philippines, it's dangerous because what people will go and buy a foreign title that's a resale, and they won't check with the lands department first, the lands department and the building, to make sure that there's an available slot to transfer it in your name. I've heard situations lasting more than a year, up to 2+ years in the Philippines, to actually, after you paid in full, to get your condo title in the Philippines. It's horrible. Actually, I had an experience similar to this, and what had to happen is someone had to sell their condo to a Filipino or something like that, and that did actually happen for it to transition over and then get your title. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The system, honestly, in the Philippines, it's a bit broken. Needs a lot of fixing. In Thailand, actually, believe it or not, the system is very good. It is very, very quick, and it's fluid and transparent. So in Thailand, you have other challenges, like you have to get your TOR certificate. So you have to prove that you got the money from overseas legitimately, send it to a bank, convert it, and then they will give you a TOR certificate to buy a property. So to settle, if you don't have a TOR certificate in Thailand, they won't allow you to settle. But as long as you meet all the criteria and have the requirements, you will easily settle your property, and then you'll get the title deed to your home in Thailand. Okay, so next. So, good morning, Florida to the Philippines. How you going, buddy? Good morning. Caveman says, "G'day from Western Australia." I love Western Australia. Okay, so Billy says, for a first-time investor, what would you recommend an entry-level Thai baht purchase a condo on a budget? Okay, well, here's the wonderful thing about Thailand that I really love about Thailand is property prices have come back substantially in places like Pattaya. Not so much Bangkok, but Pattaya, whew, it's dropped. I literally have seen some really good deals, and honestly, I wouldn't go too cheap. Don't spend 500 to a mil. Like personally, there's some deals there, and well, actually, it depends on you. Actually, I did see one that was around about 790, 800,000 Thai baht that I listed. That building name in Pattaya is Pratanak Hill, which is called Art on the Hill. Actually, I don't mind that building. That's okay. If it's just you want something that's kind of small, maybe 25, 26 square meters, that's for you. That's a good little one, okay? But personally, my preference would be to spend around about 1.5 to 2 million, get something that's just a little bit bigger. Personally, I've lived in a few small condos. The smallest I've lived in is 22 square meters, just way too small. It's not manageable. 30 square meters, 35 square meters was just bearable and I was satisfied. So what I would say is personally, try and get 44 square meters and above. That's actually my target, 44 square meters and above. And you're gonna have to pay at least probably 1.5 to 2 million Thai baht for that condo in Thailand, okay? So that's my advice to you. Okay, also pick a building that is a nice building, it doesn't have to be brand new, but within a few years old, and something that has a decent location. So a good location, on the top of the peak in Pratamnak. A good location would be, Pattaya Central on, a BART bus route. So it could be near LK Metro where the BART bus is. It could be, Second Road. It could be First Road where you can just literally walk out of your condo, jump on the BART bus and get to anywhere you need to go without having a car. So, transportation, fundamentals, all of that's important. All right, I need some coffee now. All right. I think there was a few questions there. Carl says, if married to a Filipina, what are the problems to look out for when buying a parcel of land to build a home? Okay, number one, this is the best advice I can give you. When you buy land in the Philippines, because of President Marcos's declaration, Proclamation 1801. 1801 stipulates that there are a lot of, natural government-owned land, okay, government-owned land that cannot be owned or titled in the Philippines. Hence why you have what's called tax declaration. Now, a lot of people say to me, oh, look, tax declaration is cheap. I want to buy a tax deck. Would I buy it? Hell no. Don't buy a tax deck. However cheap it is, that tax declaration, you don't own it. You don't ever get a title certificate unless you go through a complicated process that literally could take years and might not ever see you getting title ownership. Because if you go out and you read Proclamation 1801, okay, by Marcos, pretty much what he said, and I'm just going to move slightly here, guys, because this bin behind me is bugging me. Right? All right. Proclamation 1801. What it says is the government takes ownership of certain beaches, coves, natural wonders in the Philippines. Moved to an island is great. It's not great for property ownership. Like Boracay, for example, you can't own it. Everything on Boracay is taxed at. Bohol, I believe a lot of Bohol is tax declaration. Bataan to Zambala, certain coves and regions and beaches, the places you want to be, the really nice places, are tax declaration. It makes it very, very frustrating, and actually it overinflates the value of titles, real title deeds in the Philippines. So hence why title deeds are worth so much more than a tax declaration. And with a population that just keeps growing here in the Philippines, it's booming, this population. Ultimately, that means that property, land is going to only continue going up and up and up. So that's my advice to you there. Yeah, buy title land, don't buy tax declaration. That's how I feel about it. So, Mark says, in Thailand, is foreign quota condos just as good quality corner units as the local stock? So yes, Mark, it's the exact same. There is no difference, zero difference, okay, between the Thai condo in the same building and the foreigner quota. There is no difference. The only difference is the piece of paper that it has, okay, and the stamps that have been paid. Stamps have been paid in excess, more stamp duty and taxes to the local government for the foreign quota than the Thai title. Okay, so RuneScape, thank you so much, and yeah, I try my best, and I'm here to help. Thank you, RuneScape. Capran says, another vlogger says you can convert a property with tax declaration into a title property. So sometimes you can. It is a huge gamble. It is a huge gamble. Maybe, let's say you were connected in a way to the land's title department and you had a way to influence. There is possibly a chance that you could title. But I've also known people to convert those titles and then later the federal law overrides and they say, Proclamation 1801 says, we're taking that title back. So there you go. And yes, because of corruption and this sort of thing, it is definitely possible. Yes, you are right, but it is a grey area, no doubt. So RuneScape says, I lived in Pattaya 3 years, really enjoyed it, came back to UK before lockdown, maybe check out the Philippines in the future. So RuneScape, here's a question for you. Are you missing Pattaya? Are you missing Pattaya like I am? Or are you happy back in the UK at the moment? Or are you keen to get back to Asia, back to the Philippines or Thailand? Yeah. So what about you guys? Where's everyone looking? Where's everyone looking to buy now? Always interests me, as to, where are foreigners looking to move? Are they looking at, moving and buying a condo in Vietnam? Vietnam's very popular. Is it Cambodia? Is it Philippines? Thailand? There's Connor. What's to move to Japan? I've looked at it and it's a good price. So Japan is a bit of a basket case, to be honest. What's good about Japan is, look, you can go as a tourist. Well, I can anyway on my passport for 3 months. But Japan doesn't have anything like a, retirement visa like the Philippines does, or even like Thailand does, because they still have a retirement visa. There is no retirement visa in Japan. Visas are really tricky. The best way to get a visa, well, two ways in Japan, is to either marry a Japanese woman, okay, or work in Japan and get a work visa. So, one's out, two's out, because I'd probably have my own business or something. It's just too complicated for me. Japan's out. I wouldn't live there permanently. I would just holiday in Japan. Now, I really like Japan. I looked at buying property in Japan, but because I could only be a tourist in Japan, I probably would not buy there, most likely, right? That, unfortunately. If I put it this way, Philippines and Thailand are kind of number one on my list in regards to property. Number two is Australia, my home country. Number three for me is Japan, okay? And probably around there is Cambodia as well. Cambodia used to be higher on my priority list. It was number two, and Australia was number three, but things have shifted for me, okay? Because I think Cambodia is going to slide. But look, if I had lots of money, I'd definitely buy something in Japan, but I want to be at the stage that I've got coin before I do that. What I'd like to buy personally in Japan is a little condo on the ski slopes, because I actually like snowboarding. That is my favorite sport. It is so much fun, and I have not done it, unfortunately, for a few years now. I think the last time I went snowboarding was with Arianne about 3 years ago. All right. Yeah, fellow traveler, definitely Philippines is much easier to stay. It's more friendly. The visas are easier, there's more options, it's more flexible, and I think now Philippines is number one. Even during COVID-19, even though Philippines hasn't fared very well, prices are still going up. I can't believe it. I'm shocked by it. Okay, we got a bit of a question here. JC said, I want to get back to my condo in BGC, have a useless SRR visa. Wonder why they even bother to continue with that, as it's totally useless and definitely can't be accurately described as a residency. Definitely it's not a residency. Unfortunately, this this COVID-19 has really thrown a spanner in the works, because like they're saying if you're a foreigner that has a child that you can get back in, but I've heard stories of foreigners with children, they can't get back in either. And I'm scared to leave because I can't get back in potentially. Now I'm probably different because I have a special government visa, to work here and engage myself here in business. So I'm special. But that was a very difficult visa to get, and I have to literally work here and I have to pay tax here to get that visa. Right, so it's not fair actually. The SRRV, you know, you have to, put in I think as much as $50,000 for that retirement visa. You should be able to access the country during this time, but unfortunately, this has not been tested. This COVID-19, this is new, and we're just not sure what will happen. Unfortunately, I think you're going to be locked out for another year. I think it's going to be a year. I'm not talking until 2021, which is in like 3 or 4 months. I'm talking like 12 months. I think it's going to be a long time before the Philippines reopens, and I think the Philippines is going to be one of the last countries to reopen. I think Thailand should reopen well and truly much earlier than the Philippines. So keep that in mind. And yeah, Keith, I will agree. It's definitely more fun in the Philippines. It is. It is. It's definitely more fun. I used to think Thailand, but no, nowadays Philippines is the most fun. Oh, and I already got COVID in the Philippines. JC, are you serious? Whoa, man. Have you still got it? Have you recovered yet? Are you okay? Oh, and I already got the COVID in the Philippines. Had to read that twice. JC, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy, and I hope you get well soon. Terrible, terrible. Billy, you would have to be mad not to engage a lawyer when actually transacting a property. I would not buy a property in one of these Asian countries like Thailand or the Philippines without engaging a lawyer. You just don't know what will happen. And also, you want that lawyer to do all the checks with the land department prior to purchasing and putting your money down, your hard-earned money down. Make sure that it's not a fake title deed. Make sure that you're not getting ripped off. Make sure that there's not a lien against the property. That's what you want the lawyer to do, to protect you and to do all the checks and things on that property before you purchase it, okay? And that way, if there's ever a problem, you can lean back on your lawyer and said, hey, you were supposed to check this. You're liable. They're the lawyer. So yeah, that's what the lawyer's supposed to be there for you. Engage it. Angelica says, G'day, Roy from South Korea. Sorry. So you must be using your friend's account. G'day, Roy. How's South Korea, mate? How's the weather? Is it a bit cold there? Is it snowy? Got snowy mountains there? Yes, Florida. He said that it would be open by December, and I promise it will be open by December. I mean, he always also said this lockdown's going to last 14 days, and then 30 days, and then 60 days, and then 90 days. I don't know. No, I think the Philippines will get a vaccine from China and Russia. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this Russian vodka. It's probably cheaper. Yeah, so apparently Russia is going to rescue the Philippines with a free vaccine. Free. So, yeah, I think it's, yeah, who knows? Could just be hype. Billy, I think the last time I paid Patty Illegal and Trevor was around about 18 to 20,000 Thai baht is what I paid. So I think it was 18 or 20. Can't remember exactly, somewhere around there. So it seems like a lot, and it probably is. But for peace of mind, to be able to sleep at night, I'd rather engage a solicitor than not. That's my preference. I think you'd be mad not to. Alrighty. Prometheus says, so I think it will not take 1 year. Prometheus, I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think it's going to be another year. I think it's going to be a long time before Philippines, and let me rephrase this, before the Philippines reopens for tourism, for tourists to come here. For certain individuals like SRRV, maybe December, January, but I think for tourists, you're looking at a year. It's bad here at the moment. It's pretty bad. Let's have a walk. Stand up. My feet are getting a bit sore. There we go. Got the hammock behind me. Oh, I've got to put the legs out on this thing, guys. Just a tick. Can't stand, otherwise my feet will go to sleep. Alrighty. That's better. Stretch it out. Yeah, why would you even travel here right now? Like, that's right. So, I mean, just because of, like, let's say that the Philippines, opened up. The Philippines will still have this quarantine, this 14-day quarantine. If you're coming for tourism, 14-day quarantine getting in and getting out. That's not great. Yeah. Yes, he's been saying vaccine first. It's not my cat. It's a random street cat. Where is he? Actually, the other reason I got up so early, the other reason I got up so early today is next door. And I love my neighbor. He's a great guy, really nice guy. But he's been doing renovations on his house. And, it's like I like to film outside and vlog outside because, the natural surroundings, etc. But, if it's the middle of the day, bang, 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 banging it out. So I had to get up at 6 a.m. and I wanted to vlog before 7 a.m. One, because I wanted my viewers, on the other side of the world in the US to be able to see me and have a chat. And two, I wanted to get in before the bang, bang, bang. And it's really frustrating. Yeah. Yeah, well, look, nothing much we can do at the moment. So LA Rod says, are you expected to maintain the property, the leasehold property? Yes, you are. So you're expected to make sure that the property is in good condition and it's kept well. And also that, for example, let's say that, the building was just like one box and you wanted to extend that box out and add a room or add two rooms or something like that, you are not allowed to do it because technically it's not your property unless you apply to the land department. Babe, it's a bit loud, honey. Unless you apply to the land department. If you apply to the land department, then yes, they can give you an approval, to have a material usage change and just change that building and the footprint and the floor plan. Sometimes what you'll find is, like even our block here is 1,000 square meters, right? The block is actually 1,000. But the footprint where our house is built is only 250 square meters. So technically we're not allowed to build out there. We're not allowed to build up here without approval. And what happens is if they want, if I want to go say, take this slice of land in front of me and build a little granny flat, they want to charge me extra money for that leasehold. They said, now your footprint is 250 square meters, but yes, you have all the usage of the land, but to build there and to build a structure there, you're going to have to pay them more money. So yeah, there's definitely a few things when dealing with the local government in regards to leasehold. So you got to be careful. Yeah. And honestly, we went to get a survey plan and a floor plan and couldn't get much. from the local government. We eventually did, but we had to get someone, because apparently it had never been done and they didn't have copies of it, to come and survey the block. And it was only once they surveyed that we found out that, yes, we're built on this land, but technically our footprint is only here. It's not the whole land. So I was thinking about this morning, actually, because up top at the back here of the house, there's another flat block. And I was thinking to build a granny flat or something there. And look, will it happen? Yeah, it might happen in the future, but I have to apply for that. So like, for example, if we wanted to build a small house for Ruby or take on a nanny or something like that, then that, at that stage, maybe we would do that. Yeah. Okay, leasehold has gone up substantially. So nowadays, I used to say like the starting point was like 3 to 4 million. The starting entry level home in Subic Freeport now, even with COVID, is 7 to 8 million. Peso, I'm talking, right? It was 3 to 4, it's now 7 to 8 is the entry level. So, I mean, this house here, I reckon is minimum probably 10, 11, maybe even 12, Yeah, it's gone up. In the last 4 years, it's at least doubled. And some people, like, their asking price is like quadruple. So some people, like my house, are asking 15, 20 million now. It has skyrocketed. And the reason it's skyrocketed is because, look, a lot of foreigners have kind of clued on to the fact that you can own leasehold here. And, they're really eager because, alternatively, all they can get in Manila are condominiums. And condominiums have skyrocketed in Manila. So Clark and Subic have definitely skyrocketed. Having said that, during this pandemic, property prices have not dropped here in Subic, absolutely. But what I have seen is in Angeles, San Fernando, and even Clark Pampanga, prices have come back. So it depends on the area. Prices definitely have come back in Clark, absolutely, yeah. And maybe it's just because, it's a bit of a sanctuary out here in Subic. Billy, there's arguments for and against, at the moment though, I will say in Bangkok, if I was in Bangkok, I would rent. In Pattaya, I would not buy. Bangkok is rent. For me, personally, is rent. Pattaya, I think, is a buy. I mean, mate, like, think about this. How often can you buy, a nice condominium for 40 square meters at like 30,000 Thai baht per square meter? Because, like, let's face it, that's where prices are headed in Pattaya at the moment. Like, even right now, I saw one building which is built in the last 3 or 4 years, really nice building, and it's down to like 41 or 42,000 Thai baht per square meter, which is really cheap. It's below replacement value when you actually assess how much the land costs to buy and how much it costs to construct for the developer. It's actually cheaper. But the developer doesn't care because he sold at 90 or 100,000 Thai baht per square meter. It's the owner that's selling and leaving. He's going to cop a loss. He probably paid 3 million and he's selling for 1.5. That in itself is an opportunity. And if you can't see that, I'm sorry, you're blind. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's about the price and the deal that you get. If you're buying below market value, buy. Don't wait, buy it. Look, if I was in Pattaya right now, I would have bought 1 or 2 condos already during this pandemic. G'day, Black Waltz. How you going, buddy? And actually, I don't have my other phone. I'm just kind of catching the chat messages, but there was a few people, I think someone mentioned they were tuning in from Japan. So whoever that person was, I think it was Trevor. G'day, mate. How you going? So we have 4 minutes left. I'm going to wrap up. Not a long vlog today, guys. I've got to get down to Clark. I've got a bit of a business meeting and a luncheon down there at the Marriott, at Clark Marriott. So we're going to go for about 3 or 4 more minutes. We're going to wrap up. Any last questions? So I'm going to open up just for questions now. Good morning, BWW. Hey, from Dublin, Ireland. G'day, Paul. How you going, mate? Dublin, that's cool. Really cool. Last questions, guys. I'm going to answer 2 or 3 more questions. Best place to invest in a condo, Manila or Davao? Personally, I prefer Manila. Hi from NYC. G'day. Hey, Mike. I'm hearing BPO business is getting really tight. Yes, it is. I wouldn't do it. No. Bonjour from Montreal. Okay, Casa James. Arianne wants a shout out. So if you haven't gone to the channel already, Arianne started a new channel for our personal life vlogs, and that channel name is Casa James. So same as this here, Casa James. Right, this is where we got it from. You know, House James. So you know, if you want to support House Tyrell, House James. Head on down. Sorry, no, this isn't Game of Thrones. That was a bad joke. I really do apologize. Check out Arianne's channel, which is Casa James, and our family vlog. Actually, just on that, we did a video recently on a beachfront. Yes, Austral apparently will take over, but that's yet to be seen. But we did a video recently, and one of our friends actually, he got a place for 10,000 pesos, so 200 American dollars, on the beachfront in Beloy in Subic Bay for rent. So 2-bedroom house, nice little house actually, really, really cheap for $200 US a month during COVID. So there are deals, okay? Absolutely, definitely are deals. So see you next April, Duke. Yeah, the intro, the Married with Children intro, if you haven't seen it for Casa James, is really cool. It's really great. Says Style. I don't know, mate. I really don't know. I'm wondering where he is too. I think he's gone out of the limelight. He didn't really like, and you know, the personal talk I had with him is he didn't really like being in the limelight on YouTube, and he wanted to live more of a private life. So he removed all his videos. Yeah. Yes, I have considered elite visa in Thailand, Mac, but what threw me is apparently, even if you get this elite visa, it's not a real permanent residency, 1. And 2, what happens is, actually, even during COVID, I don't think you can get back in. And get this, apparently you still need to do the 3-month immigration check. So if you have to check in with the immigration and answer all these questions and be looked at, answer 21 questions, what's the point of spending all of this money on a visa? So I was looking into, I was highly considering it, but when I heard that from one of my subscribers who commented and said, I have an elite visa, but I'm still having to check in. No way, red flag. Why would you spend 1 or 2 million Thai baht to get that visa if that's the case? I think it's totally not worth it. So that's my 2 cents worth. Anyway, well, it's been a good morning, and good morning to all. Good morning, Philippines. I'm going to head now. Thanks for watching. Please do share, like, and subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't already, go back on this particular video, hit like, so then it's recommended to other people too. I really, really appreciate it. If we can get 100 likes on this video, I will just be so, so happy. That'd be awesome. So if you haven't already, you know, lots of good advice here, lots of good free advice. You know, it takes 1 second. Just please click out of the chat and click the like button. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye for now. Double thumbs up.